You're watching Alaska's news source.
All we can do at this point is still hope and pray.
I'm just going to miss everybody I knew, and I knew every face on that plane.
Tonight, remembering the people who died in a Bering Air crash. A pilot and 9 passengers did not survive. Our team of reporters are covering this for us tonight. The recovery efforts are now underway. Tonight, memorials and gatherings are underway across the state. Johnson Kuhn begins our team coverage with where the investigation heads now. Johnson.
The NTSB will play a major role in this investigation moving forward. After we learned today, the Coast Guard said the plane experienced a sudden drop about 40 minutes after taking off. We've learned that their administrator is heading to Alaska as part of the investigation. This is the Coast Guard picture many have seen by now. The Bering airplane found approximately 34 miles southeast of Nome. We know 9 adults and the pilot did not survive. While 3 bodies have been recovered, the Coast Guard says while they think the remaining 7 bodies are inside the plane, they say the plane's wreckage make it inaccessible. During a joint news conference, a Coast Guard lieutenant commander talked about the challenging conditions.
The air temperature in the vicinity of the last known position is about 3 degrees. The sea temperature, depending on the status of the ice, is about 29 degrees. And what we're having is mixed ice conditions. So what we're calling shore ice, where it's not necessarily entirely firm, but not entirely broken up either.
We will follow the NTSB administrator's visit to Alaska and keep you updated on the investigation. Johnson Kuhn, Alaska's news source.
For the first time, we are seeing this video. It comes from Nome in Nome. This is what crews were up against looking for that plane. Here you can see a U.S. Coast Guard Jayhawk on the tarmac at Alaska Army National Guard's Army Aviation Operating Building in Nome. And this video from Nome today shows how those conditions quickly change for those involved in that search. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Mr. Fry. And the conditions we saw yesterday, now much different today. Recovery efforts, of course, are underway. Melissa, you say the weather will change again.
Yeah, such a contrast. We've seen what's happened in the 24 hours that have just passed. In the next 24 hours, we're going to see a quick change like that once again. Now, I want to show you a satellite imagery zoomed in over the region. Yesterday, those overcast skies clearing overnight, revealing the ice conditions below, which yesterday we couldn't see that at all. But again, today, now you can actually see that ice moving below. Looking closer at that, this shows you literally the surface of the sea ice. What you see there in white across Norton Sound, that is ice. And you can see, even though it is relatively solid, as we've heard, there's still those cracks, still places of open water even within that. Now, it is 14 degrees right now. Those winds have started to increase at about 15 miles per hour this evening. So crews working in the area, they're going to see those winds increasing through the night into the day tomorrow as this next area of low pressure pushes in from the south. In fact, we already have winter weather advisories in effect for Nome starting Saturday night and continuing into Sunday as this storm lifts to the north. So overnight tonight, those temperatures will hold in the teens for the most part. We'll see those winds right about 15 to 20 miles per hour. But as that storm lifts north, I do expect those winds to reach as high as 40 miles per hour heading into Sunday, along with another round of snow and rain on the way. Rebecca?
And behind that recovery, there are people who died. Let's start in Unalakleet. Georgina Fernandez tells us how people are coming together.
Rebecca, people in Yukon tell me all this is still raw and fresh as they continue to process the plane crash and its aftermath. One well-known local family is making comfort food. The Hansons own Peace on Earth, a local restaurant in Yukon. They've been making lots of pizza today, wanting to provide comfort food. They've been doing that kind of thing for years when we covered them during things like the Iditarod. Right now, Nick Hansen told me it's all about providing food for the community events happening tonight at the school and the church.
Last night when everything kind of hit the fan, my dad had some pizzas on the line and was just kind of making pizzas and bringing them over there and making sure that there was food for the staff. They were out there until 2 in the morning, so it was just us being on call when we could.
Many also know Hansen from his appearance on America Ninja Warrior. He said he's heard from people across the country checking up on his family. And for those who need help, a spokesperson from Norton Sound Health Corporation is also offering support lines for people to call right now to to have access also to counselors.
On behalf of my fellow Nomites, I extend our collective condolences and support to the families and loved ones of the passengers and pilot, and others in our Big Alaska family are also impacted by this tragic occurrence.
And now to Nome, where the plane never made its scheduled landing. Olivia Nordike's been watching a news conference from Nome. Olivia, that was a very emotional moment.
Rebecca, Nome's mayor is one of several local leaders we heard speak about how the close-knit community is supporting each other.
God, I just ask that you comfort those who mourn, who are devastated, and overwhelmed. While we can't turn back time, please give us all the needed strength to use each moment we have in the future very wisely. Hug your people tonight, tightly and often.
This evening, Nome is holding a multi-faith vigil at Old St. Joe's Church, where they're sharing time together to process the events in the last 24 hours and gather in prayer for all affected. Olivia Nordike, Alaska's news source.
Governor Mike Dunleavy expressing heartbreak over the crash. Now, since we spoke with him this afternoon, the plane has been found. But before that, during our conversation, the governor said he is praying for the families and talked about that airline route. He used to live on the west coast of Alaska. He understands people are concerned over the crashes over the last few weeks, but he says Alaska relies on air transportation, and he doesn't see that changing.
Given the amount of people that fly, the amount of planes that are in the air, it is an amazingly, I think, safe industry when you look at it. I still think, and I think the research would show that the chances of being injured is greater in a car, driving in a car, than it is flying a plane.
Now, after it was confirmed the plane wreckage was found and that all 10 people on board are believed to have died, we did reach back out to the governor's office for additional comments. He posted on an updated statement on his Facebook page, which says, in part, "We are grateful to the search teams who worked tirelessly to locate the aircraft. I ask all Alaskans to keep those affected in their thoughts and prayers." Our coverage continues live right now on our website and mobile app. We will be right back.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
The Yukon Quest, Alaska is still happening. 2 mushers remain on the trail. John Thompson has been following the race and gets us up to speed.
Well, this time yesterday, we had our Yukon Quest Alaska winner, and since then, other mushers have crossed the finish line. Last night at 7:41, Josie Shelley and 10 dogs made it into Tok in second place. And Shelley said that the 550-mile run was an excellent learning experience for both her and her dogs.
There was a lot of challenges as far as like the river, some of the wind and jumble ice and stuff. So obviously that's tough, but at the same time, it's a highlight to me as a musher because of the dogs. Right. I mean, just them learning and just my leader, Ferd, in the end, he barks going up Eagle Summit, just encouraging the team when we get into wind or any tough situation, same thing. He just starts barking and gets jazzed, so that's a highlight.
And just shy of 4 hours later, Laurel Eklund and Jonah Bacon finished the race back-to-back. Bacon says that he thoroughly enjoyed his bonding time with Eklund. Eklund taken aback by the natural beauty of the trail.
What was your favorite part of the race?
The Yukon.
The Yukon? Yeah, how come?
Because it's the Yukon. It's gorgeous.
Well, congratulations.
Now, in conversation with champion Jeff Dieter last night, he told me that while he appreciated the beauty on the trail as well, he was also more about the history of the quest.
I think probably the coolest part of the race for me was running the Yukon River and getting to experience some pretty challenging trail, but also seeing some really, quintessential quest checkpoints, visiting Trout Creek, mushing through Slavens, staying at some of the BLM cabins. I've heard about since I was a kid listening to the quest. It was pretty neat to be able to see those areas finally.
Now, for more of my conversation with champion Jeff Dieter, you can check out the In-Depth Alaska podcast wherever you get your podcasts. John Thompson, Alaska's news source.
And here's that leaderboard. As of 6 p.m., Jeff Dieter took first yesterday. There are 2 people remaining on the trail, the finishing line in Tok.
Thanks for listening. Click Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.